disturb it. Thanks.
Oh, what's that?
Thanks for avoiding the 218.
See?
Thank you.
It's Jeff Peterson. This is a commercial that went over set.
I don't get to see him, so
And if we make it across the board residential and commercial,
that's great. That's a great solution.
yeah, when I be talking to my aunt, how come the trash increase again? How come the water is going?
Right. I just got a call today from the Redlands Unified School District. They want to just add another year to our contract. We still have 2 or 3 years left on the contract. He wants to add another year. You know who she is? Who? Amy Drummond.
Who's she?
Does the name Drummond sound familiar to you?
She's an award or she's the superintendent?
She's the director of contracts for the school district. Drummond should ring a bell for you.
Who are they?
Well, he's one of your employees. He's in public works here. Her husband. They live over on
Danny Drummond. Okay, got it. Yeah, he lives by your house.
There you go. I knew you'd get it because I know you know all those people. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in charge of purchasing.
They're a nice family. Really.
Yeah, he just have not kid anymore, son.
Well, he's a big train, model train enthusiast.
Really?
Yeah.
The son or dad?
The son.
Wow.
I mean, they have a room just devoted to model trains in their house. And I was able to.
So they live on the same street with you?
No, they live over. What's the other? Not the street that Daly lives on, but the one next to it. The one like it. What is it? I think it's the one that Chrisman used to live on. Oh, so are you widening or just putting in an underground pipe on California?
Mike.
In front of Hartnell's property?
He would give me the property right away.
He wouldn't?
Well, there's 4 property that I need the right away on.
Yeah.
And he gave it to me for the buy it. And one of them is in the southeast corner. That would be in the living room. The back of sidewalk in the living room. And then one just to the south of Hardingle is a building in front.
Yeah.
Mine got tear down.
And on Hartnell's, they've got all of those big containers
In the back.
What are you doing on the other side of town? There's homes along there.
Widening part, the south side, right close to Barton Road.
Oh, yeah.
Close to Barton, widen the west side.
Oh, yeah, I saw you putting
Curb and gutter. Sidewalk. I'm still waiting for Edison to relocate 3 poles.
And there's a driveway there. They put in a driveway that looked like somebody had, and curves.
No, we don't put it in. We have to relocate the power board location. After the power board is relocated, then we put it back. We put the curb and gutter sidewalk.
Oh.
Extend that landscape median, pave the whole street.
What's that property zone for?
Outcome.
Huh?
The one facing California is commercial.
Commercial. Does it go all the way to the houses?
Yeah.
On Barker?
Yeah, but it belongs to university. University on that corner. Well, the one that just north of Barcelona, northwest corner of Barton.
Go hold north of Case.
No, we're still using it. We're opening our council meeting, but we're still tied up in closed session, so we're gonna be back in the back for a little bit longer. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
All right. Well, we're just waiting for one member. We had already called the meeting to order, but as we announced, we had some closed session business to finish up. So I'm going to ask the city attorney to report back on that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council met in closed session in regard to labor negotiations with our designated labor negotiators. Matters were discussed and the council provided direction to staff. No action was taken and there's nothing else to report this evening.
Okay, thank you very much. We will go ahead and do the roll call, and then we will commence with the invocation of Pledge of Allegiance afterwards by Council Member Wong. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I'll take roll. Councilmember Spencer Wong. Present. Councilmember Popescu.
Here.
Councilmember Rigsby.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Daly.
Present.
Mayor Duper.
Present.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We'll start with the prayer. Our Heavenly Father, thank you so much for today that we could come here and be present and take part in helping to grow and develop our city. Please bless each and every one here and guide our thoughts and give us wisdom to make wonderful decisions that share your light. And in your name we pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Mr. City Manager, are there any items to be added or deleted?
No, sir.
At this time, we will have public comment. Public comment is for anything that is not on the agenda, and speakers are limited to 3 minutes. And I'm looking to see, we have none. Okay. So with nobody taking us up on that, Milford? No? Okay. We'll move on to the scheduled items, beginning with 2A, which is a report on the Community Garden Valentine's Day event.
Thank you so much. Thanks, you guys.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Melanie Hendricks, and I am here on behalf of the Gardening for Kids Committee. And I'm here because we are very grateful for the City of Loma Linda's support for the Valentine's Garden Day for Kids on February 14th, 2025. The original location was at the Loma Linda Community Garden. However, after several days of rain, we had to move the location to the community room. And the event brought together about 55 people from the community. It was a diverse group of parents, doctors, educators, firefighters, police, students, City Council Member Rhonda, and our city manager, T. Jarb. were all in attendance, and kids in the age range of 0 to 12 were also in attendance. I'm going to have Amy Jones, our Loma Linda Community Garden Coordinator, talk a little bit about the event highlights, if that's okay.
Thank you for having me again. So the event highlights, Melanie was looking for really fun ideas for the kids, and I love plant science art. So we decided to make watercolors from plants, and the kids were able to experience art, but also learn about original art and making color and experiencing plants in a different and new way. So they had a really, really great time. We also foraged a bunch of material from the garden. So we're really into being natural and staying away from synthetic chemicals and toxins. And when you make your own paint from plants and when you use materials that are from a garden that doesn't use any type of side, it's a really great activity for children. And everyone had a really great time. And you can see that this child created a really beautiful artistic card with his paints and different plant materials. And these are just a couple pictures of some of the attendees making their natural watercolors. I think the parents were really interested in it too, and they were able to assist the kids because, like we explained last time, you put your plant material in a jar, you put hot water, you mash it to extract the color out, and then you add a thickening agent and you can paint with it. And then more of our committee's labor of harvesting all these forage materials. So we're so thankful that we have committed people in the community to putting on events like this because it does take quite a lot of work to go through a garden and forage and clean everything for events that we do.
Okay, so we kind of gauged our impact on the community, and we feel that the community members were allowed to bond and meet new people. So we did have a community connection. And in regards to community engagement, it was about 7 community members who volunteered 50 hours towards planning and facilitation of activities. We all are kind of new to the world of gardening as well as the world of event planning, so we had to put in some time. And then the benefits were the kids were introduced and connected to materials derived from nature. So, so we did give out a survey, or we had a QR code, and parents were allowed to take a survey. So we did get a lot of feedback. Like our favorite part of watercolor was smashing the flowers to make the watercolor. Favorite part of foraging was smelling and collecting the flowers from the table. And then feedback for future events is they felt it was a great activity. They want to see more. Maybe for the holidays, we can work on different colors like green and red. And an Easter tea party, even though we know Easter just passed, or a class about pollinators, clouds, planting flowers. And we did have a little disappointment that we moved locations. So they said if it rains again, just let the kids play in the mud. But we had to move for safety precautions. But some of the parents wanted us to keep it at the garden. And looking ahead, Amy.
We're looking ahead for a Christmas and an Easter event.
Right, so the child said it best. The kids love doing holiday-themed events. So, if the committee is willing to put on such an event, the garden would be so happy to support it with any kind of plant activity or material. I think they also would like to do some community classes. That's a pretty frequent request we get at the garden from community members. And also senior connections, where we connect events with senior citizens who may know a lot about gardening and would like to pass on that knowledge.
And so we just want to thank all of our supporters, our city manager, T-Jarb, for funding and showing up, supporting that day. He even took a couple of pictures, so we appreciate that. Our city council member, Rhonda Spencer Wong. She came and she did a welcome speech and assured the residents that this is something we can look forward to happening again in the future, and also for some of the initial planning. So we're very grateful for that. And the Loma Linda Fire Department and Sheriff's Department, we kind of took them out of their element, but they hosted some games and did giveaways, so it was really fun. Oh, okay. Oh, click one more time. Okay, thank you. And just for our closing thoughts, our committee wants to make sure that whatever events that we hold in the future, it aligns with the City of Loma Linda's cultural development plan of health culture. And we want to stay in touch with the community, keep an ongoing dialogue, and find out what events that they would like to see in the future. And as you can see, Easter parties, Christmas themed crafts are what we've heard. And then we also we desire a continued partnership with the City of Loma Linda. We want to work together in the future for other gardening events for the kids. And the contact information is below. If you want to reach us, you can email us at any time, and we will for sure be back. Are there any questions or feedback? Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I do have some bad news for you, though. Easter was last weekend.
I know. So Easter 2026,
Okay.
that's what we're
Okay.
shooting for. Yes.
I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for putting this on. It was a lot of work, and
Yeah.
Melanie and Amy make it look easy, but they had many meetings behind the scenes trying to plan and figure out what would be the best and what would really work. So, how can we support you guys, or what? Now that you guys have done something like this, what does it look like moving forward? Like, if you want another event, and I mean, it was a lot of fun, and I think this is exactly what a Blue Zone community should look like, is doing things like this where we engage with nature, and I love that idea. So I know it's kind of on the spot, but Easter was past. Is there other things? Because Christmas is a long ways away, right? So
So
And-
far we have Christmas. We're still in the works. We're a new committee, so we're kind of taking our time. We have to talk amongst each other and figure out what we can do. There is talks of maybe like a block party. I'm not too sure, but we have to keep in mind that it does get hot in the summertime, so something in the fall maybe.
yeah,
But I'll definitely keep that in mind.
I would like that. I'd like to see that, and we can support you guys.
And I think from the garden, I know I emailed a few people maybe a week or two ago about a program that I've really received a lot of interest in from the community, of doing an intergenerational gardening program that would really check a whole lot of boxes, where we don't have to plan 10 events. We could have one program that would incorporate gardening, art, growing things, working together, creating community, that I think would be really, really powerful, and that we could work on together to make a difference in our community, to work on some of the social issues that people are facing, as well as just interest in having fun together, because I think fun is a really big part of creating community.
And I think, isn't right near that garden one of the senior centers? Brookdale is,
Across the street.
right?
Yes.
It might be nice to have them come out. When you're saying intergenerational, that's kind of what I'm thinking, is having them come out and be a part. And I don't know what that would look like, but
And
together.
actually, Dr. Rigsby's wife, Bev, runs the PACE program, where they provide transportation, and they were actually looking into having activities and events where senior citizens would actually be able to be transported through to wherever we're having the program and be able to participate.
Oh, that would be fun. I'd like to see. Thank you both.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you, guys. Okay. Moving on to 2B, a presentation from some students at the School of Public Health.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, I'm Umang Sharma, and he's Silvano. I am a doctoral student at the School of Public Health, and I also represent one of the clubs in our association, and also an association officer in School of Public Health. And I'll pass on a little bit Silvano to introduce himself.
Hi everyone. My name is Silvano Cardenas. I'm also a doctoral student at the School of Public Health, doing health policy and leadership. I'm graduating this June, which I'm so excited about, finally done. I think part of why I'm here today as well is I'm the president for the School Association for the School of Public Health. And I'm really excited to be able to talk to you guys today about a couple of things that Umang and I have discussed many times and discussed with other students as well in terms of, the city we want to live in here at Loma Linda as students, but also some things that we like about Loma Linda today. And so we'll get into that here.
All right, so let's get started. Some few thoughts, and before I begin, I would like to put in that these are not just his and my thoughts. It's thoughts about all students, because we bring this thinking. We work with other students and other association across all 8 schools and 1 college. So we hear them, and this is what we hear, and so we are putting what we think you all can help us. So we begin with certain points. We're thinking about a food desert. We'll talk about business and appearance of the city, how we think it should be. This is an aerial view kind of Loma Linda. How I see it is it's kind of green, but not that green. I want it to be lush green. I want where, when I walk on the street, especially during summers, everyone wants to stand below a small, I wouldn't call it a tree. It's just a big, shrub type, or want to park their car below it. Why that? Why don't we have lush green trees? Why don't we plant more to look our city beautiful? I know we are thinking about business, to bring business and everything, but when you bring other things, you need to have your city look beautiful too. I know a friend, I mean, we have many friends around other states. So one of my friends from Arizona, when they came, they said, wow, to this, because they have only cactus there. So I believe so that sense should get more to wow when we look and think about. So while we are driving towards the Brookside Roads at Redlands, I think it gets a little bit good. This street, I believe each one of you, when you drive through this driveway, you feel nice, especially during summers. It's like kind of shadowing. It shadows, it gives you a little bit of shade, shelter. And if you see a look from this side, it's kind of nice, but I think this is what we want towards our city in Loma Linda as well. This is towards the Redlands. But that's why we have some pictures of the Redlands to see if you can see here. You see it's such a nice shady when it's the noon or the afternoon time. And someone can just walk, and drive is really nice. This is an aerial view again. Does it really look very nice? Or it should be more nicer or beautiful to look at with aerial view. For example, here. I'm not sure whether someone can recognize which parking lot is this, but yes, because it's a unique. It has nice, big trees.
It's also private property.
I agree, but why can't we have a government property like that? So that's the point. This looks pretty as well, but this is something I believe the government handles it, this area or this street. So if this can look like this, something where our Loma Linda entrance can also look like this. And then I'll hand over to my friend.
That's also private property. Owned by the university.
It is.
We can work with them. I think Chandra's here.
No, it definitely is. And I think there's opportunity even in some of the public land that we have that we can own. And that's why we wanted to use this as an example. This is definitely privately owned. It has Loma Linda University insignia, as well as Children's Hospital insignia on it. But if we look at the previous one, right, historic redlands with the lush green, things like that, I mean, this could be an opportunity for us to really showcase the great Loma Linda that we have. I mean, we have a lot of different opportunities being the blue zone. I know there was a Netflix show that came out recently as well that highlighted Loma Linda in a very positive light, from being one of few cities to be a blue zone in the world. And so, trying to take that next step to really showcase it in how we see our city, how we walk around in the city. It's different from hearing it in the news, watching it on Netflix, and then coming to the city and really feeling that connectiveness and feeling that in when we're walking around down the street. And so, Barton Road crossing, just to kind of show it as a comparison, right? I mean, we do have trees, beautiful palm trees, things like that. But when we're talking about main streets, just using our neighbor Redlands, or even our other neighbor in Riverside, of saying, well, you have downtown Riverside, you have downtown Redlands. There's a lot of businesses. There's a lot of business growth happening in those cities as well. And there's potential here. And I believe, as a resident of Loma Linda, as a student of Loma Linda, I think there's a lot of potential here in Loma Linda to be able to grow that and grow those businesses. And I think it starts by us here within the city, both the residents, here city council, to be able to show that we're willing to invest in our own city, so other businesses should be able to come in and invest in us as well. This is also just a quick note, mostly because I walk across this street pretty frequently. This is the crosswalk on Anderson and Star Street. You see the Alumni Center there. Just as a personal story, there's been a couple of times where I've almost gotten hit crossing this street. Luckily, I'm still here to tell the tale. But there was one point where just because there's not just the stop sign or anything, but like a crosswalk marking sign besides what's on the street, sometimes it is a challenge, especially in that area where you may have students, classmates of mine trying to get to classes who might be running late, or even patients trying to go into the emergency department to visit a loved one. Very anxiety-driven time for sure. And so this area can use some support there of saying, at least even just crosswalk insignias, lights, or things like that. I know there's one down the street that expresses that, or at least has that available in that crosswalk. And then the business opportunities, like what we talked about. This is just a couple of examples. I'm sure you recognize where this is at. It's right next to Stater Brothers, and where I know I go there for boba a lot. The tea house, the Loma Linda Tea House. There's opportunity for businesses to be able to come into Loma Linda, and I'm not quite sure, and I'm not smart enough to understand why we haven't been able to fill some of these businesses. It's definitely privately owned as well, I believe, and so that may be part of it when it comes to setting price standards and things like that. But any flexibility that we can provide within the within the city to be able to have opportunities for business growth, I think that's something that the city council obviously would want. And I think as a resident, as a student, that's something that I would want, just from being able to have foods that are healthier options for us, and hopefully be able to fill some of these empty spaces here. There's also, on the other side of this parking lot, where the ABC bookstore used to be, where it's a pretty large space. I know, again, privately owned, but if there's an opportunity to try to leverage some of the flexibility that the city can provide when it comes to bringing in businesses, I don't know if that's something that would be an option. So, as an example of food options that we're thinking, so I don't know if many of you know Kava, the restaurant. I absolutely love this restaurant because it's healthy food, but it's fast food. It's similar, for those of you that don't know, it's similar to Chipotle, but a Mediterranean style. And so, their main focus is healthy food and fast food. And so I think, being a blue zone that we are, I think there's opportunity for us to be able to reach out. I've actually submitted a request to Kava to say, hey, will you be willing to come and place a Kava or build a Kava here in Loma Linda? I don't know if that's going to go anywhere, but I did submit that request to Kava specifically, just because I do like their food and it's healthy food. And so this is an example of one. Of course, this is just a couple of other examples here of the food that they do provide, which is, again, you can see here, filled with color, everything that we're taught from a public health perspective that you want to see in the meal. you see represented here. And so opportunity for businesses like this to come into the city, I think it's important. My wife is back here, Marty. She is currently expecting our child, our first one, which we're very excited about. But as we were coming after work and coming here to present here today, she was really hungry, which happens a lot now. And you know, she's petite, so we're not used to that as much. But we said, well, where can we go for food really quickly? Well, we went to McDonald's, and is McDonald's the healthiest food? No, but it's here. It's locally here. It's fast. It's something that we can get pretty quickly. Where as a husband and as a future dad, I would much rather my wife be eating something that looks like this, that's fast and healthy, that's close here to Loma Linda. The other option is, of course, Chick-fil-A. Now, Chick-fil-A, I'm kind of saying it's not as healthy. It is fried food. But from this perspective, for Chick-fil-A here within the city, it's more so from the spiritual and religious aspect. Since you know, we prayed before we started our committee here. We're a heavy Adventist city. They're not Adventist, but they are definitely spiritual and religious. And so I think that's another aspect of being able to draw in these types of businesses within our city. I think it's important to represent the city that we are, the residents within it, and what's important to us. This is also another similar idea when it comes to what Redlands is doing. You know, Redlands Public Market is relatively new. I don't know if many of you have been able to join in or go into this area yet, but I've gone there a couple of times with some friends and family, and it's a good opportunity, again, from a building perspective. I don't know if this is privately owned or city-owned property, but definitely being able to have a location where multiple different little shops are able to come in and be able to, again, you know, have options for the local residents to be able to get good food, healthy food, all of those kind of things where you can kind of curate it to represent the residents here within Loma Linda. I think it's important as well. Now, I don't know, to your point, Mayor Duper, I don't know if many of this empty ground or empty land is privately or publicly owned. I tried to do as much research as possible to try to drag that in and try to figure that out specifically. But from an outside perspective looking in, there is potential. There is a lot of opportunity, a lot of land availability within Loma Linda. I know some of this already is heading into Redlands, but even in Loma Linda proper, there is some opportunity. Whether that's, again, private or public, I'm not quite sure. But from an outside perspective looking in, there's definitely opportunity.
It's almost, actually, this slide is something talking about what we are experiencing in our campus, at our campus, sorry. Students, basically, once our cafeteria is closed at 2, the main cafeteria, they don't have any place to eat. So they order through phones, or like you said, running to McDonald's, or right across the freeway and when you go to the Tupicano, there are food, this thing. But we are really looking for a food hub, or a, you know, kind of a place where all students can find healthy. And I think having a busy village where students are thriving and having, you know, time to spend in the evening, this is what maybe the council can help us, and that will bring business as well. And people will be willing to, because a student who is running for his clinics, or a student has to finish studying, or me or he like writing our papers, I don't want to get up and cook. If I have a good option, I will definitely end it in good pricing as well. So it's something this is saying, like, this is what's happening. Most of the students are, what did you eat? Oh, and the new student coming in doesn't know where to go. We had just a small Loma Linda market, which closes at 7, and they are always saying, do you know any place to go and eat? This is what it is happening. And it's like when they keep, the first year or the first quarter, they're struggling, and then they adapt. Everyone adapts. They adapt to this place, that place, or they're going to running to Redlands. Most of them run to Redlands because Redlands is more a happening place than Loma Linda. But why is that happening and not here? So that's what this one shows, and that's what also another point we want to bring around. Yeah.
So just as a summary of our presentation for today, really the vision that both Umang and I and other students that we're representing here today really have is to build a livable, walkable, and thriving city environment that supports both community health and economic development in Loma Linda. As again, we talked about residents, as students here, we do want to see Loma Linda thrive. We want to see Loma Linda continue to grow. We want to see Loma Linda to be able to show all of these different things that we know it to be, being residents and students here. We want to show that to the outside world. And so that's important for us. We talked about infrastructure enhancements, such as, the walkways, being able to provide maybe even just in the Anderson and Star, area there, being able to kind of look at those opportunities to make it as walkable, as safe as possible. I think that's important. Revitalization and business development and equity access, looking at all of these different opportunities within our current empty spaces, at least from a business perspective, looking at things like the public market and seeing, is there something that we can create similar to that? I know that on Sundays we do, at Clark's Market, we do the market there as well, and I think that's been a big hit. I've gone to it a couple of times as well and enjoyed it. But can we do something that's maybe more permanent, something that can actually, bring a lot more business in from that perspective as well? And from us, really, the next steps is our goal is to continue to engage with the city council if you'd like to continue, and we'd want to partner with you all on this. Definitely, with other students and with local support to be able to kind of continue a lot of these opportunities and see if there's any way that us from the School of Public Health specifically and the students there can help achieve some of these goals within the city. And just want to say thank you for having us today, and thank you for Dr. Spencer for being able to introduce us to
giving us an opportunity to speak here. I guess that's a big thing. But of course, when we are saying, and it's okay. I just want to put up that we are always, and she also supports, we are Blue Zone. So what's Blue Zone is exactly, that's what we have to look. We have to create that picture. People don't know about Blue Zone from outside. Even other states here in the US, some students join, oh, really? It's a Blue Zone? I didn't knew about that. So, but what's special if someone comes here, when they come for their graduation, they should have that look on their face, which should shine up and their eyes should become big. So, yes, but thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to speak and share what we can bring from students' perspective. Thank you, Dr. Spencer. It was a good opportunity.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Let me ask one question, Silvano and Umang. You guys pointed out one thing. One of your pictures was the alumni building. I couldn't help but notice. And so my homework for you guys, after looking at your alumni building, is, and the safety issues there, possibly, go and see what the alumni might want to do, because if they have a large School of Medicine alumni, that might be willing to do something to protect students crossing there. But I've also heard a student from the School of Medicine got hit crossing on Anderson. Mm-hmm. So seeing what might be a possibility that they could shepherd in, or what we could do, I think emailing alumni and starting the conversation, I'd be very interested to see what they have to say.
Thank you. Yes, we'll get. Thank you.
But did you have some comments?
Yeah, just a couple of comments. I appreciate your presentation. You did a very nice job. Just to kind of set some context that we live in as a city council. We've had a number of people, as I recall, also from the School of Public Health, but others that have come, and they're concerned that there's too much grass and plants in Loma Linda, that we live we're right on the edge of a desert, and water conservation, especially a few years ago, was a huge, huge issue that we were dealing with. And so to find the balance between how many trees are we going to plant and how much grass, I mean, we had a debate about the lawn in front of City Hall. Should we tear all that up and put basically desert plants in there as a way of exhibiting how we're concerned about water conservation and so forth? So
Yes, I
There,
appreciate.
there are issues
Yes.
that are not always obvious. I like green trees, but if all I wanted to see was green, I'd move to Louisiana where everything's green and it
Well,
rains all the time. So I'm sympathetic to the points you're making. I truly am, and I like trees. But as a city, we try to be responsive to a variety of perspectives. And so I'm just asking you to appreciate that those are issues too. Also, what was it? A few years ago, we said we applied as a city to some organization,
Tree City USA.
Tree City USA, and they had their criteria of criteria that you needed to meet in order to be identified as a tree city in the USA. I don't recall what the criteria was, but ultimately we were identified, the city of Loma Linda, as qualifying for Tree City USA recognition as well. I don't know what it means, except it means I guess we had enough trees and bushes and so forth so that they felt, so, we're sensitive to the issues you're raising. The last point that I would make, when you talk about restaurants and so forth, has been a discussion issue before this council many times. And there are potential plans down on Redlands Boulevard, that will include restaurants and so forth. The university, I know, has talked about some redevelopment that would put restaurants close to student housing and so forth. And I'm not sure specifically where those plans are, but you raise a valid point. I can also tell you, well, first I have one recommendation, and that is that, Annie, do you have cards you can give them? Oh, here we go. Okay.
Email me, call me, and come on by. I will show you what Andy and I were doing with the gutter, all of this that you asked.
okay,
We have been working on it.
okay.
Yeah, so coordinate, I guess, is the main point that I'm trying to get to there. I can tell you that we've tried to recruit some, when the McDonald's went in, that was very controversial. And we've had people in that don't want any fast food restaurant of any type. And, so there's that constituency. But then also, when we have tried to recruit, I know there's a place that my son used to like to go in
Veggie
Orange
Grill.
County, Veggie Grill. Yeah, thank you. And they have great food. He used to bring me some of it. And but my recollection is when they did their market research on Loma Linda, because we said, blue zone, lots of vegetarians and so forth. But when they did their market analysis, they looked at a 5-mile radius of where they might be located, which included South San Bernardino. And they went, well, no, that's not our typical clientele. So work with our city staff, and we're sensitive to this, and we want to expand and grow, and they can tell you about some of the plans that are already in progress. But thank you.
Thank you, sir. I just want to add one point for the plants. I know water conservation is a big thing now, I think not only here, around the world, but we can have those trees which don't need much water and plant
So
those.
actually and it just, not to belabor this because we do have other stuff.
Yes,
We're gonna have to
yes.
get moving on. So there's a lot of other considerations
Yes.
too with trees. One of the things that trees do in public space is they break up sidewalks. And then we get sued by people because the sidewalks are messed up. So we literally get complaints and claims to the city because the palm fronds drop on people's cars. There are a lot of things to consider with all of this. And we definitely appreciate your input and your desire to see a healthy, vibrant, safe community. I would make one suggestion to you. This is my personal recommendation. You appear to be speaking on behalf of the university, which I would maybe make sure that that's appropriate, because we have connections directly with the university, and we know about plans and things that they have in the works. And so I would just caution that when you're speaking directly about university projects and ideas and plans and their property, which they own a third of the land here in the city, they already have stuff in the works as well. So maybe go through those chains and those routes to make sure that you know what the university's desires are, because there's a lot of stuff we're on the same page with them already. And in fact, our new assistant city manager is working on some collaboration with them. But there's when we talk about things that are private parties and whatnot, I mean, as a government, we can't force businesses to come here. We can't tell that strip mall what to charge for their spaces. We can encourage things. We can try incentives. We can stuff like that. But all the stuff you're talking about are things that everybody here has been trying to get for years and years and years. Just the realities of the world sometimes get in the way. But I would just, again, be a little bit careful because I saw the university logo and some other things here that you guys are representing. Make sure that you have kind of that official position to be in here speaking on their behalf.
I think they pointed out, though, that they were students and that they were speaking as student, just sharing what, it's kind of like as a person living in the community, their students here just saying what their wish was. And I think that's just, even their first title, you guys did a good job saying a city you would like to see to live in. It's really just the student perspective. And so I think having them work with JARB and talking about what you guys would like to see, because even your entertainment, like you didn't say entertainment, but having a food village where students are able to connect and collaborate would be great. So I really want to applaud you guys for coming, because I know it can be daunting to come here and stand here and talk to our smiling faces. So you guys, I like what you guys did, but talk with JARB, connect even on Kava, see what he has to say. There may be things that we can work together.
So just so you know, there is a master plan by the university to develop their property to include some of the amenities you're talking about. So that's getting a little bit ahead, I think. And the university, I think, recognized, I don't want to get too much into their world, but they recognize some of the challenges with students in terms of housing and food options and stuff like that. And that's stuff that's been in the works for a while. So just I appreciate all of what you're saying, and just make sure that you kind of know where they're coming from, and you're not speaking for them if that's not really where they're at. Does that make sense?
No, it does, and I appreciate that insight. I think to Dr. Spencer's point, I think for me, I'm a resident of the city. I've been a resident before I was a student. I think this is something that, from my perspective, even just looking at the businesses around the organization around the city, I don't. Sure. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I want to make sure they catch it. No, I thank you. No, it's true. I mean, as a resident here, I really am focused on how to make Loma Linda better. Not, I understand what you're saying on the university side of things. Like you mentioned, that is a private business as well. The city doesn't really have much say in terms of their master planning committees or things like that they have. But I'm sure I'm excited to be able to work with you to be able to understand what the plans that the city has as a public facing entity here to be able to grow those aspects of the business within what comes the bounds of what the city council can do. We're not representing the university by any means here today, but definitely representing the voice of students, residents, wanting to make sure that Loma Linda is seen from the outside perspective looking in as not just Loma Linda University, but Loma Linda City, a blue zone, something that's valuable to everybody, not just as a university town, not just as a hospital, but from a city perspective as well.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
I would just echo some of those comments. I think you guys did a great job. Thank you. And I do agree that we need to do everything we can to preserve Loma Linda as a blue zone. I recently attended a very good speech or lecture by Dr. DeSantos, which I'm sure you all know in school public health. He did an amazing job explaining what makes Loma Linda unique and all the features. And we can't take that away from Loma Linda. No matter how many people live here, we are recognized as a city that really promotes a healthy lifestyle. He suggested we even try to put together a blue zone organization, and I think that's a very good idea because there's more we can do as a city to try to promote that. Having said that, my only other recommendation, and I apologize if you come up here and sometimes you get lectured by some of the folks up here with all sorts of suggestions, but um, it, yes, there's limitations we as a government can do. However, there's a planning commission, there's plans in the works when people submit plans. I know it takes a lot of effort, but you're more than welcome to take a look when those things come up and put in your input, because to be honest with you, sometimes developers will do whatever it can to limit expenses. And if they can take away from groundkeeping, they will. And most cities want developers so badly, they take corners. And it bothers me when I see other cities that are in the desert, but somehow have much better groundscaping. I mean, to me, gardening and all that is very important, and I think we as a city can do that. But it has to be mandated from the residents to the staff and the council. And unfortunately, by the time it gets to us, it's almost too late. You know, it's already, it won't pencil out. You cannot vote against it. Well, it is what it is. And as a result, we actually end up with pretty ugly neighborhoods. And I actually think that we did a better job developing neighborhoods 30 years ago than we do today. But that's my 2 cents. So keep up the good work. Thanks.
Thanks, you guys.
I just have a brief comment. Redlands has a 100-year lead on us on tree growth. So take that picture and add 100 years and it's going to be green.
All right, thank you guys very much. Moving on to 2C.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple meetings ago, you asked staff about the GIS software for storyboard. And what I'd like to present to you, what our staff, Mr. Henry Reed in Public Works, have been doing the past, 15 years or longer with our GIS and what we have in our GIS system. Okay, Henry would like to present what we have and what we're moving forward with the GIS software.
Hi, my name is Henry Reed. I'm a GIS analyst here at the City of Loma Linda. I would like to take to this opportunity, thank the mayor and the city council for this opportunity to do this presentation. The City of Loma Linda implemented the Geographical Information System, known as GIS, program 25 years ago, actually. So this was when I was given the opportunity to help build the GIS data to what we have now available. There are several maps available on our City GIS hub site that is located on our city website under the Public Works Department. I would like to take a few minutes to go over some of these maps in order to let the city council and the public know what is available at their fingertips. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I'm just going to go over a few that I believe are beneficial to see. This is our, right here, this is our hub site right here. Hold on, let me find some room for my mouse here. There we go. All right, this is what you see when you open up our city hub site, our GIS hub. And we're going to go over a few of these maps here. Some of them that stand out that I think are very important to, you know, get out there are, we have the 3-year moratorium map right here. When you go in this map, it allows utility companies and contractors to see what streets have been recently paved and are under the moratorium stage. So this is a tool for utility companies to know, you know, if these streets are able to be, cut into. And you could see the dates of the project date and the moratorium end, which is the end date would be when the moratorium is completed. The stage is completed. We have our development information map here, which is a good tool to see the development projects that the city here has underway or is in the future. The map shows our citywide projects that are proposed and in construction. This map includes a dashboard that shows the project status. So if you look here, it allows you to see the status of each type of project. And when you click on them, it'll let you know what the project is and the status of it.
Henry, can you please go to the vacant lot on the east side? And that gentleman, you mentioned about the vacant lots on the, by California Street. So what's going on there? Yes.
This is a tract that is that's under construction at this time.
It's actually, go ahead.
So for example, sir, so if you go to this website and you say, oh, there's a vacant lot over here, you can just double click on that yellow dot, and it said, okay, it's a tract 20414, it's a residential development, it's a 51 lot subdivision, it's under construction, and so that's what happened to the vacant lot.
And
So, go ahead.
real quick, I just want to add to that. So you see that yellow dot that's kind of in the middle of the two green dots?
Yes.
Okay, just to the left of that, so that big area right there, that's owned by Redlands School District. That's a proposed area for a middle school. However, there's no idea when they might not actually start working on that. Because it's owned by the school district, we actually don't get any information from them on what their state-owned property or school district-owned property. They can come in and build and do whatever, and we don't even have any knowledge of it, basically, because they don't have to get permits and stuff from us. So a couple of years ago, we had looked at trying to do some land swaps and trades that Dr. Rigsby was behind and talking to some of the school district folks. It didn't work out. They want to hold on to that because they're thinking at some point they do need a middle school. So that's basically frozen land that can't be moved. Everything that was next to it on the right is all has development plans that are already in place, things that are coming in, indicated by those dots. But that's just a big one that people focus on because they see that big piece of property and they don't, they're like, hey, well, how come nothing's happening there?
All right, our next map that we're going to be looking at, we have a couple of them that are similar, our tract map index and our parcel map index. I'm going to actually open just one of them because they pretty much are very similar. And so if you're looking for parcel map data information or tract map information, you can actually go in here, and it gives the boundaries of the tracts and the parcels, and also gives you the opportunity to download as-built information that is available. You could go in there if there's any water plans, sewer plans.
Yes, double click on one of those. So for example, if you have a property in Loma Linda, said, hey, where is my sewer lateral? Where's my sewer manhole in front of my street? You can go there and actually double click in it. And so you'll find the street improvement plan, the water plan, the sewer plan, when it was put in. So, and this way, when the engineering firm coming to the city and said, hey, can you please give me an as-built for the sewer line or street improvement, all they have to do now is go to the city website and get that information.
And we have a couple of other maps that are.
Go to the
yes,
the city limits and annexation map right there.
All right. This is the incorporation of each annexation. Kind of gives a history of the incorporation of the city. So by the time I'm
look at the parcel map number 846, 1970. That was when the city was incorporated,
one, yes.
and look how small it was. Okay, and then we slowly annexed, 1972, 75, 78, and so forth. So all those areas were annexed into the city. So we used to be very small.
Yep.
Does it also keep track of when the sphere of influence was shifted, or only annexation?
Only annexations on this.
Because, you know, this is the stuff that Milford did.
Yeah, there are actually a few sphere of influence indications in there that are included, but just a few.
This also explains why half of Loma Linda, the post office thinks it's Redlands.
Yeah. All right, and we have some other maps here that, you know, like our bike route map. We have parking zones for people who want to see what parking zone they're in. Now
The
I have one-
trails, everybody wants to see the Southwest trails.
This is one of my favorite ones only because I actually went out on the trails last week to see how this would work. And I was pleasantly surprised. If you have a handheld device and you go out there and you could actually open this map and you click on the, right here, this little icon right here that says my location. It will zoom right down to your location to the, right at the trail, and it'll let you know what trail you're on. And and all the data that has here that's inside this legend, it'll give you that information right at your level.
Can you show the trail names in a little more detail?
Yeah, it does. I mean, when you zoom down, it's going to show
Yes.
the.
And this is, would like to comment, because we have, like Councilwoman Rhonda, you were on the trail committees. We spent years, came up with the names for all these trails and the difficulty, and so why is it green, blue, red? We have actually council members that went walk up this hill and came up with a difficulty for all those trails.
Yeah,
And,
It's a team effort.
No,
Yes,
and Mr. Popescu and Dr. Rigsby were with a group that was responsible for preserving a lot of that.
We own 1,700 acres of land in South Hill. Yeah.
Which realistically is not developable. It isn't, so it's good. And we're trying to keep it that way.
All right, and let me see.
I want to see the trash route map.
You want
Do
to
you
see
really?
How about the street light map? Dr. Daly wants to see the street lights.
All right. So, yeah, this map is pretty much, if you don't know, you know, you just moved in or whatever, and you don't know what your zone is for when your trash comes, then you just type in your address right there.
Why does Milford have his own day?
And and then you click on the zone you're close to right there, and it'll just let you know. It's
I thought it was going to tell me when the blue truck and the green truck and the black truck come by my house.
No, you have to leave your cans out 17, 18 hours for that.
Yeah. And then the street sweeping map is very similar to that as well. So, and then we all, here, the last map I'm going to show you is our utilities map. This is used quite regularly. Oops. Sorry, this mouse is not my friend. Anyway, this is for all our sewer, water, and storm drain mains that go through our city, along with our hydrants and anything else that goes with them. And this is very valuable if people are looking for that information. If you click on these, you're able to download the plan of as-built that was done for that portion. So that's a very helpful tool. And this is, like I said, done for the sewer, water, and the storm drain.
Henry, is there an opportunity to actually show the terrain version of the map, like the 3D version towards the middle?
Not in this view right here, but I am able to switch to the terrain. I could always have that as an option, and I could actually have that as a toggle if we want in the future. Yes.
Henry, do you know offhand what our account number is with Esri?
They're coming
coming next month.
141-420. Yes, I do.
It's 141
420.
420. So Esri accounts are based on when you first became a member. It's all chronological, correct?
Yes.
And I'm not sure what they're up to now, but they're a worldwide
Yeah, there's a
multi-billion
lot more
dollar
after
company.
We
And
got ours
we're a
in 1999.
fairly early adopter of Esri products, as most cities in this area were, because they're right next door to us. I think Rancho Cucamonga has like a single digit number. It's like 7 or 9 or something like
Yeah,
that.
Ontario's right there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. But we've obviously had this technology for a long time. It evolves and but ArcGIS has been around for, well, quite a while,
25
right?
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me mention one thing, that our public works staff, they have a laptop in their truck, so when there's water leak, they can know exactly where the valves are based on this GIS mapping. So it's very helpful.
There's a lot of different tools that GIS can help, not just the city employees, but the public as well.
And the thing is, when there's water leak or replacing the hydrants, that the public works staff will create a work orders, and then we have a student intern or staff will input all that in, and it's logged into our GIS, updated every day.
And for gas and electric, we have to call USA.
Yes.
I was thinking, man, I can go digging now.
811. And a few more things on the hub site I'd like to show is the utility information right here. This is a water distribution dashboard. This is some information that we want to put out there regarding our water and types of service lines, when the main's been installed. This one is for our water service lines. That has been a topic lately regarding about lead in the pipe, and this is kind of showing us what our service lines are made of, and there's no lead. So that's kind of nice to have. It's very useful information. We also have a infrastructure data that
There's your streetlights. 1,000.
this is a data that we do on a calendar year in order from some data that we collect and put out there. And we also have this open data download that is available for GIS people through whoever would like to utilize it. They are able to go down here and they can download our layers that we have already built and that they could utilize for themselves, developers or whoever.
Do you have a specific map to show land use and zoning?
Yeah. Oh, yes. And I'm sorry. I was going to do that. And since Lorraine is here, I don't want to disappoint her.
That's also important because as we talk about what we can do where in the city, it has to conform to our general plan and how we establish all this.
Yes, this is actually one of our first maps that's been available online. It's our first map that we've had for quite a while, so yes.
Maybe you or Lorena could explain maybe some of the colors. So where could we say we can open a business?
I know there's a legend. Thank you, Henry. If you can show the legend, as you'll see, it's color coordinated and it's pretty standard across all cities where you see the yellow, orange is always going to be typically residential. Reds, pinks is going to be typically commercial. And here in Loma Linda, obviously, we have a lot of medical institutional, and that'll be in the blue colors. So that's where you would direct a company. So you work with or talk to a business to look at our zoning map and kind of look for the red or gray colored zoning areas.
That it? All right. I just have one more thing to go over. And let's see where it is. We're talking about story maps. we have a project that we were working on for our our art in public places. And so I had took this link of another city that is doing a project that is similar to it. And this is uh, let me explain kind of what Story Maps is. ArcGIS Story Maps transforms the way we communicate by blending maps, multimedia, and a narrative into a seamless storytelling experience. Whether you're sharing a historical journey, environmental analysis, or community project, Story Maps empower you to engage your audience with interactive visuals and compelling narratives. And this is a simple map, or a simple story map, I guess you would say, of art in public places. And I think this is, I want to say there it is, Palm Desert. So if you, all it is if you just start reading the information here, and it will kind of scroll along with everything and bring maps, and it's kind of interactive. We could build this any way we want to. We don't have to use video. We usually it's just pictures. It would give information of the artist. You would have a QR code at the base where someone would go up there with their phone, and they would be able to get that data immediately, right there at their fingertips.
Jarb, how come none of your artwork moves? None of our artwork here moves.
As a matter of fact, I stole the idea from them.
Oh, did you?
Yes. And then I want to let you know that Andy came from Palm Desert, and he worked on his projects. So.
Now, are story maps kind of the latest trend?
It's been around a few years,
There's
but
something else now that's coming out.
Oh my goodness, there's a list. It's a never-ending list. There's so many different things. This is one of the newer.
Mike talks about it
toys.
at the airport. Ovi, Dusty, it's something else, and it's like the latest thing now beyond story maps.
Yeah, there's a lot, and it's a task to keep up. But anyway, that's all I have. Do we have any more questions?
How long have you been working here now?
35 years.
35 years. So.
Who's training under you? Who's training under you to take?
We do not have anybody helping me at this time. We do have an intern that assists me in some projects, but it's been me for 25 years for the GIS portion. And that's it. But if there's no questions,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Henry.
I think it's Experience. Have you heard of Experience? Experience Builder. Okay, that's it. All right. Sure.
Can you please go up to the podium? Thank
She's
you.
a GIS. She's one of the GIS experts
I
at
do
the university.
GIS at the university and a club. I had the club as well. So I think there's an application called Business Analyst that can help really to bring it down to which are the potential areas where the business can be opened. So just an idea to throw out. That's another analyst, which makes life easy. So you just have to throw data, and it gives you a whole lot of nice report. Customize it to your city council, and you can help.
That's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that, so we can.
Yes,
look
but
into it.
don't leave.
But just it brought something to mind, and it's something that everybody has to know about this world that we kind of have here. That every city needs businesses in order to survive, right?
Yes.
But yet the state doesn't care about that.
Yes.
The state is mandating we want housing, and the state is putting tons and tons of pressure on us to do housing, and so it's very legally hard for us to justify changing zoning from housing to commercial. And it almost near impossible. Not saying it can't happen, but the state mandates, in fact, say that how short are we in housing units? Several thousand units
Yes.
that the state says we're mandated to have, which we can't produce. We can't get developers to produce. We don't necessarily want to produce, but that's kind of the world that we're living in right now. So it gets a little weird. And
Arena number is 2051 for this cycle.
so just it's just very complex on how we try to figure a lot of this stuff out.
It can help in that analysis as well. Yeah, it's just telling you the application.
All right, thank you very much.
And next month coming, because Ron Daly was suggesting, Esri's going to come next month. So she's already on the calendar to tell you about storyboards, but then she's going to tell you, I asked him to do tapestry segmentation of our community, so you'll know the makeup of our community and the makeup of our workforce. So that's next month. Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to the consent calendar.
Move it.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Sorry, I'm a little slow here. Motion is to approve the consent calendar as submitted. Please vote. Motion carried unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any reports of members or officers? Seeing none, we'll move on to your choice, Housing Authority?
I was just gonna,
Oh, go ahead.
members,
Sorry.
real quick. Just wanted, just quick update. Andy and myself had a meeting this week with the city of Lancaster and some other individuals within an organization, which is a JPA, that's really the first JPA in the country that's focused on developing a hydrogen utility hub, which is pretty unique. And there's lots of unique opportunities for us to look into joining it. It doesn't cost us any money, but I think the best folks to really talk about it would be themselves. So I would like for us to just put it on the agenda for a future meeting when they're available, so they can do a presentation about how it operates and what their goals are and what the benefits to the city is. But just from the initial conversations with them, it's a really unique, innovative way of promoting clean energy and sustainability. And I kid you not, there's literally billions of dollars that are being invested in this, either by the public sector and the private sector. So putting us in the forefront of understanding the technology and teaming with specific companies that can use us as a point of sale or demonstrating their technology or even using it to perhaps sell hydrogen. It's a really unique opportunity to look at not only generating revenue, but actually put Loma Linda forefront for some really innovative technology. So I'm looking forward to hearing from them. They're very innovative. I mean, they've put together a business plan for the city of Lancaster that's generating $4 million extra in revenue. I mean, a city would die for that type of revenue. But they know what they're doing, and I think partnering with a city like them, it's a step in the right direction, especially since they're having other cities join, and City of Industry is one of them. So it's pretty much hydrogen related, and there's a lot of innovation in that field, and I think we should take advantage of it.
Okay. Any other comments, thoughts? All right, let's move on to the Housing Authority. Mr. City Manager, are there any items to be added or deleted?
No, sir.
Anyone from the public wishing to speak on any non-agendized item on the Housing Authority, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll move the consent calendar.
Move it.
We have a first and a second.
Motion is to approve the consent calendar as submitted. Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any old business, new business, reports of officers, members? Seeing none, we'll move on to the successor agency. As that's coming up, Mr. City Manager, any items to be added or deleted there?
No, sir.
Anyone from the public wishing to speak on any non-agendized successor agency item, please come forward. I can't even see Milford back there, so it's hard for me to even pick on him. He's hiding. Seeing nobody, as soon as you're ready, we'll move the consent calendar.
Move it.
We have a first and a second again.
Thank you. Motion is to approve the consent calendar as submitted. Please vote.
And this
Motion
agenda,
carries.
this agenda does not have an option for reports of officers or members, so you don't get to say anything. We are done.